Switch SC to a UX. Ex-wife cheated 2 years ago, still denies his existence. So I've posted my story about how my ex-wife met a guy through a car club while we were married. She proceeded to have a full affair with him. I figured it out using phone records and GPS in her car and realized she was hiding his existence entirely from me. I waited a few months until the day after we dropped our last child at college, then confronted her. She denied it and I moved out and got divorced. He's younger, so I know she's since been losing weight via Ozempic and posting about her wellness journey since I moved out. Have largely been no contact except for divorce and discussions regarding our children. One of our kids had a graduation last week and we had to attend the same ceremony and celebrations. I vowed to be kind and gray rock her while outwardly posing to be the happy former couple who get along. For some reason we ended up sitting next to each other during the walkthrough ceremony and had an hour to kill before the activities started. She started asking personal questions about my life, which I largely evaded. It's important to note that over Easter break she introduced her affair partner to our children. They told me about him and asked if I knew about him, which I answered yes without providing more information to them. Since we had time to kill, I asked if my ex was happy with her boyfriend. She immediately went into a long denial about their relationship and said he was just a friend. I laughed and pointed out that she had been dating him for more than 2 years at this point, and if I was him I would be pissed at not being called a boyfriend. She started getting emotional and choked up and said she had a lot of regrets about the choices she made and doesn't like how life turned out. I asked her to be specific about what choices she regretted making, but she went quiet. I ended the conversation feeling pity for her. She's been living a lie for so long that she literally has no concept of the truth of our demise, nor will she take any responsibility for her role in same. I drove home feeling like a winner for the first time in this whole situation. It gets better. West the Ass Eater. I, 26M, found my wife, 23F, with my brother, 22M. This all happened 7 hours ago. I haven't slept since. Here's a long story short. I'm military and live on a military installation. Me and my wife have been married just over 2 years. We just had a son and he is 3 months old. My wife has this terrible drinking problem. If she drinks liquor, of any kind, she's like a demon, like something is mentally wrong with her when she drinks. She's had this problem ever since we have gotten together. But over time it has just gotten so much worse. She will break TVs, punch me, kick me, slap me, force sex and then beat me again until she passes out on the floor and pisses herself. One time she went to the neighbor's house around 2 a.m. and woke them up to try and make friends. They called the police on her. Just an example of the nightmare she becomes while drinking. I refused to buy her liquor. Beer and wine seemed to be okay, but occasionally if she could find a way to get liquor she would. And there is no getting the bottle away from her. After I finished my first contract we moved duty stations. I invited my brother to live with us and pay rent so that he could grow up and get out of my mother's house. I figured this would be the best way for him to learn responsibility. He is pretty much a loser. But he got a job and paid rent on time. I only made him pay half of what it costs him to live here so that he could save up enough to move out and start his own life. He's been with us for a year now. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago he got fired. He is also an alcoholic and has to drink himself to sleep because he has insomnia. The three of us usually got along pretty well. We would play board games, disc golf, and cook for each other. But she had recently been hanging out with him in his room every so often, because he has liquor. I expressed the issues to both of them. I have threatened divorce if she kept drinking and things were fine again after one shitty night. Last night she had a bottle of cheap wine. Which is usually fine. We had sex and then she took a bath at around 1 a.m. I fell asleep while she was in there. Only to wake up to my son screaming 2 hours later. I take care of him and put him to sleep. She's nowhere to be found. Walk into my brother's room and boom. There she is. In his arms and on his chest. I can't feel. I can't think. I can't breathe. I don't know what to do. I kicked my brother out without letting him grab anything. I told him to fucking run. And he did. She won't stop crying. My son won't stop crying. And I'm in a world of pain. Illustrious intern 6. Girlfriend cheated my best friend. Background, me, 25M, moved to the US from the UK 7 years, dual nationality. I was dating a girl for almost 2 years. At first the relationship was great. But after she moved in, she quit her job, didn't do anything to help around the house, got a DUI, and pretty much leeched off me for months. Fast forward to May 2023, I was ready to kick her out at this point. She would constantly beg me not to and say how much she needed me and threaten to kill herself on a daily basis. But the problem was my childhood best friend was coming to visit for 2 weeks, a trip we had planned a year prior. My girlfriend agreed we'd sort everything out after he went back home so I could enjoy time with friend I haven't seen in 5 years. Friend stays with us in the spare room at my house for 2 weeks. First week was good and all 3 of us had a good time. Unfortunately, I could only get 1 week off work, so the second week I worked while they stayed home. Red flags started appearing when they started going to the places while I was working. Places that me and my friend had planned going to, like sporting event and traveling, etc. He would choose to do stuff with her over me all of a sudden, and they were acting super suspicious constantly. Evidence came undeniable when I saw my girlfriend's lingerie on the floor when I came home early when I found it. They weren't home and I called him on the phone and asked him, "Do you want to tell me what's on with you, because I'm not stupid?" He instantly replies, "Have you been spying on us?" That was all I needed. Girlfriend messages me saying, "We're staying at my mom's for the night, we'll be back tomorrow for my stuff." You may call me petty for this, but if you could experience my emotions at that point you would do the same. I spend the next 6 hours throwing out every single one of her possessions. She never cleaned her cat's litter boxes, so I shoved them in her trunk of her car at the bottom and then shoved all her clothes and items on top until her car was filled to the top. Any door you open would result in an avalanche of dirty clothes, boxes of random stuff and cat poop. When the car was filled, the rest was thrown on the ground in a pile and got rained on. I text her one last time to tell her to grab her stuff ASAP. Do not come in the house as it will be locked. Luckily she didn't have a key at this point. I blocked them both on pretty much everything. I left a note on her car simply saying, "Do not contact me ever again." I canceled her phone line and reported her phone lost and stolen so that phone or number could never be used again. I was paying for both, of course. I didn't see the reaction when they pulled up to her car the next day, and I really wish I did. I was so exhausted from the night before I slept all day. When I woke up, everything on the ground was gone, but her car with all her stuff was still there. 2 weeks pass and the car is there. I would laugh any time I look at it, thinking about when that car door first opens and the smelly avalanche that follows. Unfortunately, I never witnessed her pick up the car. I got home from work one day and it was gone. If you're wondering how I got my revenge for the dude, he was living with his girlfriend and their kid back in the UK. I knew that he would spend every waking moment full of anxiety waiting for me to tell his girlfriend everything that happened. Some time passed, haven't talked to either of them since and still had them blocked. All of a sudden I'm getting messages from his friends from the UK asking me if I'm okay. Turns out this dude was bragging to all his friends about how he was fucking his best friend's girl behind his back. They all asked me for the real story since this dude couldn't get his story straight. I told them what happened. That information reached his girlfriend and he ended up getting kicked out. No one has heard from him since. As for my ex, well, I heard she moved in with her mom in some tiny room on an air mattress with her 3 cats that shit literally everywhere. No job, no money, and a few days before I kicked her out she had to go to court and was handed 6 months probation for her DUI. As for me, most of my problems disappeared since most of them were in some way created by my ex. I did get therapy to help cope with the betrayal. It's been 6 months now. I finally started my own business and I can finally say I found true happiness. It really is a beautiful thing to watch karma kick in for bad people. Deleted. I had an affair with a guy from work. Update. You can read my original post on my page, but long story short, I, 35F, have been married to my husband, 38M, for 7 years. After 3 years of a nearly dead bedroom and lack of affection, I started having an affair with a guy, 49M, from work. Cut it off recently and was working out how and when to confess. I want to thank everyone who commented or DM'd me. Whether it was good or bad, I appreciate the advice and criticism. It gave me perspective on what to do. So I plan on writing my husband 2 letters. One that was very detailed and one that was just straight to the point. And I would have him choose which one. I also felt I should do this after getting a new job, but I was still contemplating doing it sooner. This is where the update takes a serious turn. My husband's phone kept going off last night. He was asleep. I've never snooped through his stuff and never planned to. But it was a woman's name that popped up. So I looked. Figured it might have been a family member or something. Turns out it was a chick asking if she was still gonna see him because he hadn't updated her. I was shocked. I went through all the messages. Turned out it was a 19-year-old chick that works at the Starbucks near our house. I woke him up and asked him about it. After a back and forth, he confessed. He's been seeing her for about a year. I was speechless. Then I confessed to my affair, which had started in February. He lost it. Started yelling and cussing and calling me names. I said, "Did you forget about what you just confessed to?" He said, "I don't care," and kept yelling. I started laughing uncontrollably. To the point that he just stared at me. I was laughing and then started crying uncontrollably and screamed F*****************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈̈ making me beg all this time. Then I caught myself somehow. I went and took a long shower, then I got dressed. He asked me if we could talk. I said yes when I get back. I left, went to Starbucks, got my drink and asked if the girl was in. She said yes and got her. I said, so you've been sleeping with my husband? She was speechless. I said, I'm not mad at you. You're young. But that's a dangerous game to play and it's not worth it. If you've ever been to my house, please never do so again. But again, I'm not mad at you, okay? She said okay with tears in her eyes. I got back home and told him what I said to her. I said I shouldn't have yelled at you. We started talking, but he starts trying to make excuses as to why what I did was worse. I couldn't even take in a lot of it. I just told him our marriage isn't a marriage. What you did and what I did were equally bad and our marriage wasn't good before all this. I'm not mad at you. It all makes sense now. It's like I finally got the answer to why you haven't been affectionate towards me. I'm not mad. Just done. And you've obviously been done as well, and that's okay. He continued being mad and left. I checked his laptop. There were videos of him and that girl plus another girl from 2021 and another girl from the end of 2019. The past 3 years make sense now. So basically karma is undefeated. I deserve this. I'm crushed. This wasn't how I thought my marriage would go. I'm so broken I feel physically numb. But I also feel like I knew my marriage was over and I should have just called it. But instead I became something I never wanted to be and did things I shouldn't have, and now look. That's why I can't be mad at him. How could I? But him trying to be mad at me? It's probably just his pride. Not expecting him to react to things correctly this fresh. But yeah, it's over. Not sure what I will be doing in terms of our living situation, but yeah, it's over. I'm sad, I'm ashamed, and just stunned at how everything has fallen apart. And there's nothing I can do about it but be better in the future. I will try talking to my husband again. I just want us to be fine. The marriage is over, we both did wrong, but I don't hate him. We just held on when we should have let go. I'm sorry this was so long. I'm emotional and hope this update was clear. I will answer whatever questions there are. Again, thank you. Rude_C_2835. My husband came come with pink smears. I have always trusted my husband of 10 years. But today I lost it. My husband came at 11:30 p.m. I heated dinner for him at on the table with him and noticed his lower lip line and below his lip, he has a beard, Was pink like smeared lipstick. I gasped, took him to the mirror to show him, then got a makeup wipe and pink came off. We talked for 2 hours. He swore he didn't know what it was and kept saying it's not lipstick. What else is pink, and goes on a month. He finished work at 6 and said he was with his boys looking at a SUV he wanted to buy. For more info, my husband is always out the house, comes late, and is always at his friend's car shop. He has always been like this, hates staying home, always finds a reason to leave the house. I never thought twice about it, but now I'm questioning everything. Told him to call his boys and ask them something. He said no. I told him to show me his locations. He has it turned off. I went through his phone and found nothing. The past year our relationship has mentioned been great. Help, is he cheating? Mandaloriku. Wife of 13 years was cheating for 9 of them. So I just recently discovered that my wife of 13 years has really never been loyal. I really found this out 2 years ago, but never knew the full extent. The first time I discovered her cheating, I was checking an old cell phone of my wife's to get it ready to give to my oldest kid. There was an email and password saved in the notes, so I logged in out of curiosity. It was a fake persona my wife created for herself to post ads on Craigslist selling her body for money. She was 3 months pregnant with my second child at this time. Numerous chats with at least 15 to 20 guys looking to hook up with her. Nudes sent back and forth, pictures of things my wife would never send me. And it went on for 3 months. I confronted her, and she claimed she didn't remember any of it as she had pregnancy brain. Since it had all happened 7 years before I discovered it, like an idiot, I tried to let it go. We tried a counseling appointment but only did one. Our relationship was rocky at this point. Just 3 weeks ago, I learned all the rest of it. An ex-friend of hers reached out to me to confess everything. My wife has had numerous affairs behind my back. The ex-friend stopped being friends because she didn't want to cover for my wife anymore. So far, I learned that around 2019, she had met a guy at a weed dispensary and became infatuated with him. She was seeing him for months before he finally told her no because he found out about me. Apparently they physically got together once after this. I confirmed all of this upon finding my wife's journal. She wrote all about him in it. I have his full name. Then I also learned that she was having an affair with an ex-coworker of hers. Somewhere around 6 to 8 months that one lasted. Finally, she has been seeing this guy she met on Bumble for 2 years. Has gone on overnight camping/hiking trips with him and used the cover of her now ex-friend. I confronted her on all of this, and she denied everything. When shown the evidence, she claims it was forged evidence. Then, after a while, admits to half of it, then denies it all again. I handed her divorce papers this past Monday. Editing to add, since I have gotten a few messages about this now, no, I will not be sharing my wife's nude pregnant photos. The hell is wrong with you people?